Hey y'all, it's Thursday, June 7th. I'm your girl, Shawnee C, and you are watching Shawnee C TV, baby. So, the past 3 nights on Freeform, they have been showing the 3 night series finale, of The Fosters. The Fosters has been my show since the jump when that shit started in 2013. I have always loved this show. The show is so personal, and a lot of people go through some of the things that go on in the show. They talk about a lot of topics that go on. They talk about abuse within like the foster care system and how the whole system is messed up. They talk about, coming out as, a gay person or somebody in the LGBT community. They talk about gun violence, police brutality. They talk about immigration, like a whole bunch of things. Can't even list them all. But anyway, if you don't know what The Fosters is about a family who basically come together and they work together to get through all of their family problems, and you see each of them go through their own problems and growing as people and everything like that. So Lena and Steph, they are the two mothers. They're married, they're lesbians. Yes, they are. So they're married, and Steph has a son, Brandon, from her previous marriage with Mike before she realized and found out that she actually was gay. So Steph is their son. Brandon is their son. And then later on, a couple years after they get together, I don't know how long, they really didn't say, but they end up adopting these two Hispanic twins, Mariana and Jesus. So they have 3 kids now, and then later on in life, which is when the show starts actually, is when they end up fostering Callie and Jude. And Callie and Jude actually end up being adopted into their family and becoming part of the family. And when the show first starts off, Callie is like, just like they think she's just a hard child, a really rough child to deal with. She's been in and out of juvie and into different foster homes and different group homes, and nothing just seems to work. She just doesn't know how to stay out of trouble. Come to find out, she just likes to help other people, and she doesn't like to see people being taken advantage of, seeing people get done injustice. Like, she doesn't like to see any of that. She likes to help it any way she can, even if it means putting her own freedom and her own safety and anything like that on the line. And she really didn't have it easy growing up. In and out of foster homes. Most people anyone who's in and out of foster homes being tossed around, feeling like, trash, or feeling like they're not important to anyone. That's rough for any child to grow up. So, understandable. So, when they first meet, Callie and Brandon, which is Steph's son, they end up having a little relationship thing. And because they might end up being brother and sister, everyone's like, ooh, I'm so sorry. Because they might becoming, what the fuck? Because they might end up coming brother and sister, everyone's just like, this cannot happen. So they end up sending Callie to a all-girl group home just to get her away from the house for a little while, and they basically can get Callie and Brandon out of, trying to be in a relationship together, even though they're not supposed to be. A lot of stuff happens in this show. Callie has a couple boyfriends. Brandon has a lot of girlfriends. Mariana, she only has like 2-3 boyfriends. I'm not gonna get into everyone's boyfriends and girlfriends, but the main things that happen to each character, Callie, she goes through the whole situation with Brandon, and then after that, she comes to grips with finding out that the man she thought was her father, her and her brother's father, isn't really her father. It's just her brother's father. She meets her real father, and she starts to build a relationship with him. Callie and Jude's mother killed her. She died. I don't remember exactly what happened. I think it was like a car accident. I think Jude's father was drunk or something that night, and then they got into a car accident, and that's how their mother died. And that's how they ended up getting put into the system, because Jude's father ended up going to prison for that. So, yes, Callie ends up building a relationship with her biological father. Jude ends up going through coming out to his family. He when he gets older, he realizes that he has feelings for other guys, and he realizes that he's gay, and he deals with trying to come out with his family. He thinks he doesn't really know how everybody would react. I didn't think that it would be a problem. I mean, nobody should think it's a problem for their child to be gay. I mean, you can't make somebody do something. If somebody has emotional feelings for the same sex as them, it does not matter. Like, I hate that people think that that's such a big deal when it's really not. So, Mariana and Jesus, they deal with basically growing up as teenagers, and they're twins, but they get along because they're twins, but they also clash because brothers and sisters clash all the fucking time. And Jesus ends up dating one of Mariana's best friends, and then they break up. She ends up moving away, and then later on he dates another girl that ends up being one of Mariana's best friends. And they just go through a lot of stuff between them. Mariana, she ends up dating someone who was Jesus's friend. His name is Nick Stratus. Now, her and Nick, they were, getting along and everything, but then they ended up breaking up, I think, and something happened between them, and Nick just went fucking crazy. He ends up threatening her with a gun. Someone saw him in school with the gun, and like the whole school gets on lockdown. He ends up not even being at the school. He ends up being at the Adam Fassler house and waiting for Mariana, and he like just pops up on her in her room, and it's just some crazy shit behind that. Like, that was really wild. He threatens to kill himself and everything right in front of her, all because she didn't want to be with him anymore. Like, it's not that serious. I really feel like Nick had mental problems. Like, he had a lot going on and he didn't talk about it. He was like the rich kid, and his father was like real snobby and felt like everybody should stuck up to him and kiss his ass. So I feel like he didn't feel comfortable talking about what was really going on with him. So when it came time for that, it was just stuff that nobody ever saw coming. If people would just pay attention sometimes, you probably could see it coming. Like I said, he doesn't talk to anybody. I mean, he doesn't express anything. He just acts like everything's so perfect all the time, and that his dad has money, and that's all that matters. I mean, it's not. It's really not. So, later on, about like a couple episodes later, I think it ends up being the next season actually, is when Nick is not supposed to go anywhere near Mariana. He is supposed to stay. She has a restraining order against him, and he ends up getting out of juvie and everything. And he was either in juvie or mental place, one of them. But he ends up getting out, and he's on medicine. He's not supposed to be near her. They end up being at an event somewhere, and Nick pops up, and everyone thinks that, well, he doesn't really pop up. Mariana is taking drugs. She's taking pills that she's not supposed to be taking. And she thinks that she sees him, but he really doesn't. He's really not there. So everyone thinks that, Nick is there because she said something like, "Did you just see Nick? Because I saw him." So now everyone thinks that Nick is there. They're looking for Mariana because she disappeared. Now that they think that Nick kidnapped her. So Jesus calls Nick like, "Why are you at the school messing with my sister? Blah, blah, blah." Nick comes looking for her. Jesus and Nick get into a fight, and now Jesus, he ends up having to go to surgery and like in a coma and shit. He ended up doing some construction stuff, and he had like a nail in his forehead, well, in his head, and he had TBI. I don't remember what they said TBI actually was. It's a really serious brain injury, and it could be some severity, and then it could be worse. I don't really know all the information between TBI, but so Jesus ends up dealing with that, being having TBI. He has to learn how to do a lot of things all over again. He can't really talk straight right after that incident. He stutters a lot, and he feels like everyone babies him, and he feels like nobody treats him right, that he feels like he's not the same. He feels like he's broken. And so you see him really going through that and struggling through that. And you see his family also struggling with that because they don't know what to do. They don't know how to help. They think that they're helping by doing certain things, but they're really not. They end up making situations worse. Like when he does get back to school, Lena, who is their mother and also their assistant principal at their school, she assigns him to have a tutor walk around with him from class to class. Now, when you're in school and you're the only person in the entire class who has to have a teacher sit next to you and help you with your work, yes, that's a little embarrassing. I mean, people are probably talking about you and how you're stupid and this, and that, you know. People are cruel. So I could understand the frustration and why he got upset. So shit goes through with that. So we fast forward time to the last 3 episodes that came on this week, and we're getting married. We're getting ready for Brandon and Eliza's wedding. You can tell that Callie doesn't really like Eliza like that. Like, she tries to be nice, but you know, she like also keeps her distance. Now, me personally, I really didn't think it was because Callie still has feelings for Brandon. I thought it was just like Callie just didn't like her like that. Like, Callie is that person where if she don't really fuck with you, she don't fuck with you. So, I think it was just that. Eliza does end up finding out, like, everything that went on between Callie and Brandon. She ends up finding out, and she thinks that that's the reason why Callie actually doesn't like her, and it's not the reason. And Eliza's parents are rich. Like, I don't know what they do or anything, but they're like these rich snobby people. And they come around and they say some really offensive things to Lena and Steph. And Steph gets offended. Like, she be getting real offended. She be ready fucking cut their heads off when they be talking. Like, when they were talking about how they adopt kids and everything like that, Eliza's mother said something about how Eliza used to pick up all the stray animals off the street. Like, you cannot compare. I mean, I understand what she was trying to do. I don't think she was trying to say it in that ignorant way, but I do understand how Steph could have felt away, because she always felt some type of way about Eliza's parents. So it was like, on top of that, she was going to say this. In these last 3 episodes, Lena and Steph also are fostering another child. His name is Corey. I really don't know the whole situation and the whole story behind him. From what I can assume from what happened in the show, I think his mother may have been addicted to drugs in the past, or just like she would just abandon him and go do her own, really. That's what it seems like. In the show, you see that on the 3rd episode that came on last night, his mother really wants him back in her life. And she's, you know, regretful of the way she's treated her son up to this point. I think he looks like he may be like 11, probably younger than that. Not too much younger, too much older though. So he ends up coming back. He meets with his parents. He meets with his mother, and he still loves his mother. I mean, he's a child. Of course, he's going to love his mother. But he also loves Lena and Steph, and he's really upset that he tells Lena and Steph that he wants to go back with his mother. Of course, they can't get upset that he wants to live with his mother, but they do keep in contact with Corey after he goes live back with his mother. So that was a really good happily ever after. Callie and Brandon do not get back together, which I was so fucking happy, because if they would have got back together, that shit would have been so stupid and just so weird, because I understand how they had the little thing in the beginning, and that's all cool because they weren't technically brother and sister back then. But that was like 5 years ago. That was 5 years ago. They have been brothers, and mind you, in these last couple episodes, they have already skipped past a couple years. So 5 years plus some. You're not ready to tell me that they was going to make Callie and Brandon get back together after y'all been brother and sister for 5+ years. That's just fucking weird. Like, it really is. It's just fucking weird. So I was happy that they didn't go that route, because that was starting to creep me out a little bit. But anyway, Mariana and Callie are actually moving to LA, and they're going to start, you know, they're going to have a spinoff show. It's going to be called Young in Trouble, I think. Young in Trouble, something like that. And I'm going to watch it. I'm going to see what it's about. I really love Mariana and Callie. They're both my 2 favorite characters on the whole show, because Mariana, she brings a lot of drama. Like, she's always low-key starting stuff, not intentionally, but she just be trying to look out for people, but it ends up starting drama. Like when she found out when she finds out stuff from someone, she'll end up going and tell someone else just to like give them the heads up. She's not telling them like, oh bitch, guess what? She really do be trying to look out for people's best interest. But the person whose business it was, well, they're like, well, fuck, what are you telling my business for? Like, so I really like Mariana. She brought a lot of spice and drama into the show. I mean, they all had their drama individually, but I really like Callie too, because the way she fights for other people's to have the right justice and to get just to have like fair, like just to I can't get my words right, but just to have like the fair treatment that everyone should have in life, especially within the justice system, because she deals with 2 cases that she ends up working with to help these people out. And she really comes through for both of them and helps both of their lives out. And she ends up later on becoming a lawyer. That's, you see her in the last 3 episodes. She's looking to get a job with a firm, with a lawyer firm. So, I mean, a law firm. So, I mean, I really like how the show ended. It ended on a really fucking good note. Everybody was all happy. Brandon did go through his wedding and he got married to Eliza. They are a cute couple, even though I don't know who the fuck Eliza is. Because I really did like Grace. Grace was really nice. And I was so sad when she died. Like, when Grace died, I fucking cried like I was Brandon. Like, I cried like I lost somebody. Like, it was so emotional. But one thing I will say is this show is so complex. Like, it's so much that goes on in the show. Sometimes you forget stuff. Like, it's so much that happened, I can't even name all of it. But I do want to give you the breakdown about everybody's family and relationships and shit like that, because it's like so complex that, you know, I just gotta talk about it. So I already told you about Lena, Steph, their kids, Brandon, Mariana, Jesus, Callie, and Jude. So Mariana and Jesus's real mother is Anna. And she was a drug addict when she actually gave the twins up. But later on, she comes back into their lives. Mike is Brandon's biological father. Mike and Anna end up getting married. And they have a child together and everything. So that was kind of weird, but I really liked Mike and Anna together. They were a really good couple. And Mike brought Anna, like, to it. Like, she was still dipping in and out of the drugs when they met. And he really helped her out and helped her get her life together, helped her build a relationship with her real kids, and, you know, stuff like that. So it was a really good thing to see them together. Also, Anna and Mike, they adopt AJ. AJ ends up dating Callie. So it's just, it's really a lot to deal with. But everyone should definitely go check out The Fosters. The Fosters is a fucking great show. It has 5 seasons from 2013 till 2018. I feel like it's a really good family show because they address a lot of things that go on between schools and teenagers' lives in general that they don't like talking about their parents about. They address situations within the justice system. They address situations with immigration. They address so many different situations and topics that I feel like are good conversation starters, and to get people talking to their family and their loved ones about situations like these to prevent certain situations from happening, like people harming themselves or just feeling alone and down and depressed. Nobody should feel that way. Everyone should have an ear, you know, open for someone to talk to. So it's a really good show. Everybody go check out The Fosters. It came on Freeform. You can get it on the Freeform app, and it's on Netflix, everything besides the last season. So definitely go check out The Fosters. Thank y'all for watching. Bye, y'all.